Hi, friend.
Hi, friend.
And to the Bravehearts listening out there, welcome to Permission to be Human. I'm Andrea.
And I'm Janelle.
Get ready for some real-time relationship woo and wisdom
from the front lines with occasional tantrums and tears
about how breaking rules, blurring boundaries, and tossing tradition can be catalysts for finding your truth.
Let's debunk the fairy tales we were told as children and create a new map for life.
Yes, Disney can go fuck itself.
If you're seeking permission to choose your own path,
freedom is the new F word, people,
and want to feel less alone along the way,
we got you. Please note, this is our side of the story. Our partners and metamours have their own individual experiences, and we do not speak for them.
Hey, Andrea.
Hi, Janelle. Welcome to Permission to be Human, Bravehearts.
We're so excited that you're listening.
Today, we're going to read 8 stories from Bravehearts in Action.
Yes, this is a new phrase that we're using. Catch on to it. Because we know that there is not one way to be a Braveheart. That there is an infinite number of ways, an infinite number of moments. And from our own experience, when we hear other people being brave, it gives us permission and the courage to be more brave ourselves.
True dat. Is so resonant and true for me. Today we're going to hear about a couple from Boomer generation who have found a new life format. We're going to hear about the one line that someone said to me before a threesome that made me respect this person forever. We are going to hear about a guy who totally stepped out of his comfort zone at the risk of being misunderstood. And we're also going to hear about a woman who quit musical school because she did not like the container that she was trying to express in. It did not work for her, and so she found a new one. So just a little sneak peek into what's coming today. So who is our first Braveheart, Janelle?
Our first Braveheart is May, dear friend of ours who has been following us closely and supporting us on our Braveheart journey.
Thank you, May.
Thank you, May. We love you so much. And she reached out to us and let us know that she had been struggling as a Braveheart. She had recently found a new therapist that she was seeking to help her with her intersectionality of being queer, poly, and Chinese, and trying to find someone to support her in the ways she didn't feel seen in all of those areas. But in filling out, as some of us know, filling out the new form for a therapist can be super challenging.
Intake.
And, having to go through that form may just recognize all these questions about her childhood and noticing all these areas where she thought she had made progress and then feeling in that moment that maybe she hadn't made progress. And here she was at 35. It's been, more than 20 years and she's still in this feeling. And she actually got physically sick. And that's what she was telling us. She was physically sick of drained and exhausted and stressed and sniffly and from filling out this form and just having this feeling of just not having made progress, but yet reaching out to us at the same time in that moment of despair. And it was that here's my response to her. Thank you so much for trusting us. Because what I've seen and witnessed in her is that her resilience to get up again and again and again every time she goes around the mountain. And she gets up stronger and more resilient each time. And that the fact that she allowed us to witness her in this moment and to really open her heart and be so vulnerable with us shows me that she's choosing not to be alone.
She's choosing not to be alone. She's choosing that because it's a choice.
It's a choice that in this moment of feeling shitty, that she's and I'm going to reach out to someone for support, just to witness, right? You and I didn't have any solutions for her. We just witnessed her.
Yeah.
and felt her courage and felt her bravery, and we're encouraging her and seeing her.
Yes, sitting in the discomfort.
Yes.
Yes. And yeah, this really landed for me when you just said that. You're like, she's choosing not to be alone. Mm-hmm. I also remember I just read something in the Marginalian. Does anyone read that? This is a newsletter I get every week from Maria Popova. And she said, let me just quote, "How we love, how we give, and how we suffer is just about the sum of who we are." Mm-hmm. And I think that last one's important. Like, I've thought about how I love and how I give, of course, most of my life. Probably not as closely as I do now, but how I suffer is pretty central to my being. And we can choose to suffer in anger. We can choose to suffer alone. Mm-hmm. And we can really choose the attitude about our suffering, I guess.
We can't necessarily escape suffering. I know there's a quote that Buddha has in this, right?
Pain is optional. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional.
Mm-hmm. And so, right, yeah. What can we control? We may not be able to control the despair and the loneliness that we feel in a moment, but we can control that. Hey, we're going to reach out to a friend and ask for witnessing and support. Mm-hmm. And I would say that is, May's response to us, like after we reflected back to her, just like how grateful we were, and like, to be in it with her, mm-hmm. like essentially holding hands, right? We're just, holding hands, envisioning us just holding hands together in the muck, right? And she's like, sitting and noticing discomfort is becoming enjoyable and profoundly rewarding, because May, more than anyone I know, has made a life's work of going, where is there discomfort? Why is that there? And like unearthing and digging until she finds the root cause of it. And mm-hmm. It used to be a lot of muck, and now it's distilled down to isolated incidences of like, oh, I feel discomfort right now. She knows there's reward on the other side.
Yes. Let me just say that again. She said, sitting and noticing discomfort is becoming enjoyable. Like, enjoyable mm-hmm. and profoundly rewarding. Right. Not just profoundly rewarding, enjoyable. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if I can get there.
Right. Like, as I said, she gets more inspirational and stronger and more resilient each time she goes around this mountain.
And then she further went on to say, it's been nice and incredibly painful to get here, as I have just become so bored of my internal negative voices and patterns. And it's time to even surrender that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, really big.
So we see you, May, being a Braveheart. We're so proud of you. We love you, and you're an inspiration.
Yeah, she's a Braveheart in action.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she is.
Love it. Okay, so now you have a client story.
I do have a client story. So as a pro dom, I work with men and women on surrender. Mm-hmm. And of all the skills I bring to my sessions, I believe like the most impactful one I bring is my presence, my attention, and my radical acceptance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure.
And these three qualities foster deep trust, right? And this is deep work that I'm doing with my clients, mm-hmm. Because they are invited to reveal parts of themselves to me that they may not have ever revealed to anybody else. Mm-hmm. So I had a client come who I'd seen him already 3 times. And part of the ritual of a session is that the client takes a shower first and comes out wearing a robe. And this time he came out with a different outfit on. And so to paint the picture, he's in his 60s, big shock of white hair, big, thick European man, executive, really like open-hearted. I can just tell as like a really great leader, caring about his employees. Mm-hmm. He's both confident and he's humble about his skills. And he's an avid cyclist, so he's like fit and mm-hmm. in shape. And he has this huge, loud belly laugh that I just love so much, and I look forward to hearing every time I see him.
Nice. I have a picture in my mind.
Yeah.
Well done.
And so on the session, he comes out of the bathroom, and instead of wearing a robe, he's wearing these black mesh boxer shorts. Mm-hmm. with mesh suspenders attached and with a thong underneath.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just look at him with a smile and I like eyes open and he says, "You always wear such elaborate outfits. I wanted to join in the fun too. Plus, it's Halloween."
Wow. I'm still like, I've read this a few times and I'm still just like, whoa, love the confidence.
Yeah. And the confidence, but really the confidence in me receiving him.
Yes.
And the willingness and the courage for him to do something that he was nervous about and just to trust and see and then feel seen in it. And so that, like his Braveheart moment there, I felt the tenderness of it. I felt the gift of it, like really honored that he trusted me in that moment. And to see him in his joy and his radiance of feeling so great. He felt so great in this outfit. And I could tell. And that's the point. Like if you take the courage and take the leap, and it can be scary.
Yeah.
And then being received with me and my smile and being like, yay, I'm so like proud of you. And then him be able to like feel a part of himself get witnessed and held.
Now I hear he was risking being misunderstood, judged. But I'm also hearing that you're setting up such a container and you're creating so much trust with your clients that they're like, I'm going to do this.
I'm going to do the thing that I have been scared to do or I've been told I cannot do.
Yes. Amazing. Like that is a Braveheart in action.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's just a great story. It's really in my head too. Like I can see such a visual.
Oh, I really worked on it, Andrea. I know you're visual, so I was like, let me put in all these adjectives and descriptions.
I know. I'm like, what does this outfit look like? I need more.
Okay, what about you?
So maybe, I don't know how, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, my husband and I were in the beginning of exploring polyamory, and he had started dating someone in our neighborhood. And it made me a little bit uncomfortable, like she's so close by and, there's some sort of proximity to that was hard. But then I met her, she's a lovely person, and all three of us had dinner together one night. And we were dabbling in playing together. And so we were just having a great time that night. And we sort of thought, oh, maybe we should all play together, have some kind of a threesome. And so we proposed this to her and she said, I really, I think it would be lovely, but I've been having some body issues lately. And, you're really little. And I just think that might make me uncomfortable. And
like she recognized that she might compare her body to your body.
Yeah. And I'm just like, that's so amazing. Like I remember that this was so long ago. And I'm just like, that's fucking awesome. Like so vulnerable, so honest, so self-aware.
Yeah.
Doesn't know me very well at all. And was just like, no, this is how I'm feeling right now. Like, and so I'm not going to do it. Instead of just being like, no, I'm not interested. Like just being, that kind of honesty is like.
Is a Braveheart in action. New hashtag, people.
Well said. Hashtag Braveheart in action. I'm just like, yeah. I sort of just adore this person from afar, even now, even though I never see her.
My friend Mika, 27-year-old. My next Braveheart in action is Mika. She is 27 years old, lives in New York City, and had been working full-time, as well as got into Juilliard in this past year, which is a very prestigious music school. And she got in for piano and for composing. And after having gotten in and I think she had finished a full year, she decided to quit. She decided to quit both school and working full time so that she could focus on composing full time.
Which is what she's going to learning to do, right?
Exactly. So she was going to school for this, but what she realized while she was at school is that they were teaching her how to compose based on a structure or a formula, or like, here's how composing has looked. However you teach composing, right? And she, in her creative heart, was like, no, I have a different way, like a different idea, a different sense of myself that will feel constrained if I follow what they're asking me to do.
That is fucking brave. That is listening to the whispers.
Yes. Yes. And
saying no, Juilliard.
Yes.
I'm doing it my way.
I know.
That's big.
It's so big. I'm so proud of her. And Bravehearts, here's a treat. She just has released 2 songs on Spotify. And so the links are going to be in show notes. And her name is Antner, her art name, or her musical name. But what she is doing is she is combining music, which she hears and sees in her mind, and then has created paintings of what she hears and sees in her mind. So she has paintings to go along with the music that she has composed. And so the cover art on Spotify is the paintings that she painted. And then so you can just like meditate and look at the paintings while you're listening to her art.
Oh my God, I didn't know this part. This is like so exciting to me.
Surprise. Yes. So Mika, so proud of you. Yeah. Wow. Braveheart in action.
I'm still taking that in, this whole like painting and the music, because this like combining 2 mediums together, 2 creative expressions that are something you're feeling at the same time. I adore that. So for Mika, was this a Braveheart moment just for herself? Like, was she supported by her parents, or did she have enough money to quit school and just compose on her own, or had she put a lot of money into this already? What was her situation?
So no, she's definitely being a Braveheart in many ways. Her parents, not psyched. Not psyched. So, because of course, because she's quitting her job and school. Like she already invested in school, but now she's also quitting her job. And so she doesn't have a ton of savings.
Yeah.
She's 27. And so she is, like going to reduce her expenses. I think she's going to go travel for a while, not live in New York, but she's going to, so she is, yes, having to defend her whispers in her heart.
Yeah.
To those around her.
Amazing. Okay, this is making me think of another Braveheart that I have to bring up too now. Kelly Kroger. She was at the Witness Sisterhood event.
Yes.
I know she's been at the Goddess Temple a couple times since then.
Hey, Kelly.
And I worked with her doing Braveheart coaching in the last year. She was working in HR, lots of direct reports, fairly a lot of responsibility, hated her job so much, and was just really struggling to quit. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, no, I did all the right things. Can I really do something different? What am I going to do? I'm not going to have a plan. People are going to be like, what are you doing quitting? You don't even have another job. There's so much cultural conditioning pressure for her not to quit. And I remember asking her once, Kelly, what do you really want to do? And she was like, I want to get a PhD in Russian literature and teach. I was like, okay, amazing. And she's like, yeah, but oh my God, I can't do that. Right. And, I led her through the quitting. I took her from like existentialist conversation to exit interview and like,
oh my God, I love it.
Isn't that good? Like so true. Like just met with her every month, like kept it going. Okay, here's what we're going to say now. We're going to talk to your boss. We're going to talk to your people. We're going to manage these emotions. And she was such a Braveheart in action. Like I'm so proud of her. And now, and that's what she's doing. And I haven't spoken with her in a few months now, but I'm eager to check in again and see like, how's it going? I mean, she was going to get a job at the library and basically start studying and just have a completely different life.
Right.
But a life that she knew was right for her.
Yes. So proud.
Yay, Braveheart.
Good job, Kelly.
Yay, Braveheart.
We're going to keep going here for those listening, but recognize that like the joy, as we said in the beginning, there's no one way to be a Braveheart, right? And these moments of courage come from our own upbringing, our own who told us what and when and how and how was something supposed to look. And the joy of you and I being the cheerleaders over here is that any person that I find who is willing to take the courage to take one step closer to the truth of their heart, to me, brings more joy into the world, gives me more joy, and is like the reason for everything.
this a quote. I'm not going to remember the source of this quote because it's not a famous person, but like, or it is, but it's someone I don't know. I mean, I've loved this quote for 25 years. Like, don't save the world. Just do something that makes you come alive. That's enough. Right? And that's just it. That's it.
Right. Because in doing that, you're ultimately saving the world.
You are.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
Why don't you sneak in our celebrity one?
Yes.
This now.
I agree. Okay, so Adele.
Adele.
I'm guessing Bravehearts, y'all know who she is. Well, at the height of her fame, when she created 21, or her newfound fame, right? She had the album 19, and then 21 came out.
Right.
And
her age.
Right. And that was her age. And she became pregnant. And she has told the story that people around her at that time who were just like, you can't keep this baby. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is the height. Like, you're on this like pop star trajectory to like control the world,
right?
Take over the world, and this will totally ruin your career, right? And she, at this ripe young age of 21, had to, or maybe 22, but like went inside and was like, can I be a pop star and also be a mom? Like, isn't that possible? And so as I was hearing her tell the story, here she is 11 years later, and she's here to report that, yes, you actually can.
Actually can.
Yes.
Do it at the same time.
Yes.
She pulled it off.
She pulled it off. And yeah, being a mother, she said, is like the thing she's the most proud of. And that's
how it goes.
Right. And that, she's also managed to create 4 platinum selling blah, blah, blah albums during the same time.
Right. So great. Okay. So this next Braveheart in action is a friend of mine. She's just such an inspiration to me. I don't even know her that well. I met her on LinkedIn. And it's not one thing she did, but it is a mindset. It's an attitude. It is a meta awareness of her own way. She is in her early 60s. She's widowed. She has 1 adult child. And she faces a lot of people who say, I mean, why haven't you settled down yet? Like, don't you regret not finding someone? Like, what are you doing? And it's not that she's not open to partnership, but she's just like, that I don't have to have that. Like, I'm okay by myself. She feels free. She is, in fact, she sort of, spent, I don't know, a few months in Charleston, like a while back, and just like stayed at Airbnb there. She just went to Mexico for Day of the Dead, ran into some like high luxury real estate gal at her gym who does these like high-end Airbnbs and like got a deal, right? And so now she's in Mexico. And I just love her spirit. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you're doing it. Like, it doesn't matter what other people say who are 60 and who are just like, you're not married. What are you doing?
Right. You're like, and what it sounds like is she's living a very vibrant, very alive life. And so that's making some people uncomfortable.
Yeah. That's a good, interesting point.
And is it because there's a part of them that feels dead inside and feels like, how come you can do that and I can't do that?
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know. Yeah. She is alone and she's just fine. She's happy. And this also reminds me of an interview on Fresh Air with Bridget Everett. She's the star of Somebody Somewhere. She's from Kansas. She is a cabaret performer. She waited tables in karaoke for like 25, 27 years.
Wow.
And just kind of made it big in the last few. And she's a very big woman. Like, she talks openly about breasts, about boobs, about anything that's taboo. And she really embodies a Braveheart spirit. And when she was discussing her own attitude, which is partly autobiographical on her show, Somebody Somewhere, and she said, what if we're not all doing that boy meet girl happily ever after thing? Like, what if that's not the end all be all anymore? Like, what if it's not what we want? What if we want and need people to nourish us in different ways, whether we get sex in that way or not, or whether we get it some other way or that we don't get it at all? Like, isn't that legitimate too?
Right. Like, what I'm hearing with that is, aren't there more than one fairy tale?
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. Like, there are more than one fairy tales. This is just one form of a fairy tale that we have been shown in rom-coms in Disney and Hollywood for so long.
Right. And which is like the Cinderella and Prince Charming.
Exactly. Right.
And actually, I believe that this one quote unquote fairy tale of the Cinderellas and Prince Charmings has been the one that's been like marketed to us, but that there have been people all along living outside of this. It's just that it's kind of been under the radar because of either the shame, or we're going to get in trouble, or like we're going to be judged or rejected or something.
Yeah.
But that actually what feels true in my system is that we're just being more vocal, just like you and I are, and talking about taboo topics, about things. We didn't invent any of this shit.
No.
It's just that we're bringing it to the surface.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, it's a quiet minority that's been doing it for a long time.
Okay, so I know you've got another one, which is there's a couple in your neighborhood.
So I just barely know this woman in my neighborhood. She is the neighbor of a good friend of mine. I've had a couple conversations with her on the sidewalk when I've walked out of my friend's house. She likes my boots. We exchange a couple snarky comments. I can tell she's a little wild child, but she's probably, I would say she's in her 70s. And she is married. And I recently found out from my friend that she has a somewhat unusual situation at home. So let's just call her Maria and Jack, right? So they live together. And she also has a longtime friend. Let's call him Pete. Maria and Jack have been married for a very long time. They have a son, an adult son. They're comfortable in their house with each other. Pete is a widower and he's retired. And he spends most of his time at Jack and Maria's, sleeping over, hanging out with them. They all eat dinner together. They sit on the porch together. Sometimes Pete and Maria go into the mountains for Harley rides. Jack stays home. When it snows, Pete shovels the walk. Jack stays inside. And Maria has relayed to my friend that she's just so appreciative because she has Pete to go into the world with. Jack is somewhat of a homebody and he gets to stay home. And she gets to go out into the world with Pete. And she'd go crazy without that. And so I know almost nothing more about this situation. And I feel like I just don't need to. Like, I don't know if it doesn't always work out for them, or maybe they have issues, as any marriage or situation does. I don't know what's happening behind closed doors, and I don't need to know. But like that fraction of a model to me was just like, fucking awesome. Good for you. Like, you're figuring something out that's working.
That's working for you. Yes.
Yeah.
And what I hear in that is, and again, why we're even doing this Braveheart in Action episode is, it's not sometimes it's the seed of the idea of, it can be done differently. There's another way to do it. That is what a Braveheart is listening for, right? In Andrea and I are never talking about, you should do anything the way that we did it.
No.
But we know that when I hear how Andrea's doing something, or she hears how I'm doing something, that we each get a little bit more courageous to do something. Or like, there's another possibility. And so in listening about Maria and Pete and Jack is that, right, there can be other ways of growing old and living in the suburbs.
Right. That's so true.
That brings joy.
Yeah. That brings joy. That brings contentment. That brings feeling alive. So, hats off to you guys. Your Bravehearts in action. You don't even know it.
Bravehearts, this is what we haven't asked for you. We got some Braveheart homework, which we haven't had in a while, which is, in listening to this episode, we want you just to reflect on your own life and where are you being a Braveheart. And we're going to start doing more of these episodes. So if you want someone to feel inspired by your journey, or just a snippet of your journey,
or if you just want to tell someone about your journey.
Yes.
Be witnessed, be heard, be received.
Yeah. And whether you want us to use your name or not is okay, because what we know is that other people are inspired by listening to our stories. And so we know they'll be inspired by listening to yours. And if you do want to be acknowledged, then we're also going to start tagging people and including you on our Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. So go online to our website, write in, contact us, let us know how you're being a Braveheart in any way you want, in the smallest way, in the biggest way. We are open to that, and we love you. Thank you for listening.
Yes, because we are here to cheer you on.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Do you need permission to be human? You got it. Listen, subscribe, and review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Learn more about us at permissiontobehuman.live.